Hello and welcome to another video, and today I want to talk about Gears 5. You know, I've been promising a review of this game for some time, and I've been behind the scenes recording footage, playing the game. I've probably put upwards of 25 to 30 hours into this title, and you're probably wondering, like, wow, he really hasn't recorded anything or spoken about Gears 5. You know, I had originally on my Twitter account posted early impressions of the game when it launched. I was having a really good time with it. Despite some server issues and stuff, and that's pretty much all I've said thus far about the game. And there's a good reason for that, and the good reason for that is Gears 5 is kind of a mess. I want to take this time to kind of talk about it today. So this really isn't going to be a video review of the game. It's more so having to do with kind of a cautionary tale, not only about Gears 5, but about microtransactions in general. So, unfortunately, if you're living under a rock, I'll kind of explain this to you so you understand, but most of us in the gaming community, we understand and know what a microtransaction is. Microtransactions are a way where a developer can basically put more value, so to speak, into a game by adding, a lot of times it'll be cosmetic items, a lot of times it'll be things for your character stuff, but these are extra purchases on top of the game that you already paid for. Now, an exception to this rule are free-to-play games. Free-to-play games, a lot of times they're free to play, but anything you want to do in the game is usually locked behind some sort of paywall, be it cosmetic items, be it items to use in the game. Sometimes those are consumable items, sometimes they're just DLC for the game. Now, the difference between a DLC content pack and a microtransaction is a DLC content pack is going to be something that you play over and over again. It's going to be a significant piece of downloadable content that you're paying a one-time fee for and then just continuing to use. Whereas a microtransaction, a lot of times it's going to be consumable or it's going to be a cosmetic thing. It's something that you're maybe going to use a little bit and that's it. This has been a growing trend in the industry. Obviously, I've talked about it at length with some other titles. Battlefront 2 would probably be the biggest one that I've ever talked about on the channel in terms of issues with this. Gears 5, unfortunately, and I see this as kind of a growing trend with Microsoft, is just riddled with microtransaction issues. Now, normally, with a game like this, I would not have an issue with microtransactions because a lot of times what they'll do is they put cosmetics in there. You know what? Hey, here's the game. You paid your $6, or you have Game Pass in this case, and everything else is cosmetic. Halo 5 did this, and I think they did a really good job with it. Whereas the problem with Gears 5 is they're locking content behind microtransactions, they're breaking promises that they already met, and on top of all that, the game has frequent server issues that sometimes make the game downright unplayable. This game launched in almost a disastrous state 4 days early, so it was kind of towards what I would call the beta period, but that beta period only existed if you either had Game Pass Ultimate or you went out and spent $80 for the Ultimate Edition of Gears 5, and even then, those first 4 days, the game was barely playable because of server issues. These are ridiculous server issues that shouldn't matter for a game that has a single-player campaign. I couldn't play a cooperative campaign game, and sometimes even a single-player campaign game, because it's tied to their online server, which should never be a thing. And because of, I don't know, whatever was going on, I don't know if they just weren't ready for the amount of people logging into the game, I don't know what the deal was, but it was unplayable for almost the first week. So, unfortunately, due to server issues, I haven't actually finished the campaign of this game. I've gotten through about, I'd say, 3/4 of it, and the one thing I'll say is I've really enjoyed the story of Gears 5. I've enjoyed my time with it, and the other thing I'll say is this is a very well-made game. When you actually play the game, the gameplay, I like it. It's still the same as Gears 4, just improved. There's some really cool new weapons. I like the story now centered upon Kate. I think she's a really cool character. All of that is really positive, and honestly, if it didn't have these microtransaction issues and it didn't have these service issues, I'd honestly put this up there as one of the best games that I've played in 2019. Unfortunately, microtransactions are killing this game. And one of the biggest issues is with unlocking new characters. So they promise that these characters will be free in the game, but you know, skins and stuff are going to cost money. Now, the one caveat to this is, yes, the characters are free or you can pay to get them. The problem is they've put an unusually and honestly deceptive grind behind unlocking characters. You have to do an ass amount of stuff just to unlock a character, and it's designed in such a way for you to either go, hey, I can do all this stupid, useless shit to unlock this character for free, or I can just spend $5 to $10 and get this character and not have to worry about that grind. They're doing this as a predatory practice, and it goes against what originally was promised here. You know, this was promised to be, oh, it's just going to be cosmetics. And a lot of times we see this with different games. They'll, you know, have cosmetic DLC or something, which I think is perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with microtransactions in games when they're based upon cosmetic items. However, when you purposely cut content from your already bare-ridden game and then try to trickle it out and put it under the guise of, oh, this is free content, we're free updating your game, but that's not really the case. You just cut content to put back into the game, while also doing it under the guise of getting people to pay for that free content. Or, you know, you can play like 800 matches of versus mode to unlock General Ram. Like, why would anyone do that? And the great fear I have with this game right now, being in the state that it's currently in, is that, you know, Halo Infinite is going to launch next fall. It's going to launch the Xbox Scarlet platform. It's also going to play on Xbox One. And my big fear is, because it's a Game Pass game day and date, it's going to have the same issues that Gears 5 is having. And that's really a huge turnoff for me, and I know for a lot of gamers. Like, I just honestly want Halo Infinite to be a game that has, you know, cosmetic microtransactions, whatever, but a game that's a complete game. You know, I sit down, I play my campaign, I love the campaign, whatever. I go over to multiplayer, and characters are unlocked freely. And if you want to, you know, buy a new armor shader or something, whatever, pay a couple bucks for it. The other predatory practice in Gears 5 that really concerns me specifically is the amount of money they're charging for some of this shit. Their execution moves are $7 to $8 a piece. There are skins in the game that are easily $10, and it's just stuff that should be unlocked or honestly be cheaper. Why is 1/10 of the value of the game, when you're charging $60 for this game new, why is that a justifiable cost for a skin for a character of all things? It's not. And the problem is the community's really upset about this. I see daily posts on Twitter, on Reddit, where people are just blasting this game and blasting the community manager for all these broken promises. One other tidbit I'm going to throw out there, and this was kind of the final straw in this game for me to make this video. When the game launched, one of the cool things they did was they gave you the playable character of Sarah Connor, and they've kind of done a Terminator DLC, kind of a marketing promotion for the new Terminator movie coming out in a couple weeks here. Sarah Connor, voiced by her, and that character is playable in the game in escape mode and in multiplayer. And it's a really cool character. It's really fun. It's a cool DLC, and I like that a lot. That was free. The problem here is that now, and they've said all characters are going to be free, they've already gone back on that by announcing a Terminator pack, which they're going to force people to pay $20 for these characters. And it's ridiculous. This is something that was already promised to the community. All characters, you know, would be free, and then they try to justify, well, it's a marketing thing, so we have to charge for it. Like, I have a problem with that when, you know, a little over 10 years ago when the original Gears of War released, they did a marketing promotion with the Discovery Channel for a couple map packs. I got those for free. I didn't have to pay for those. It's free marketing. I shouldn't have to pay for Terminator characters for a Gears of War game. It's free marketing for your movie. It's just predatory. And I guess that's the biggest issue I have with Gears 5. You know, I wish I could stand here and I could say, hey, Gears 5 is a great game. And it pains me because the time I've spent with Gears 5, especially in Horde mode and the new escape mode, I've had a really fantastic time with it. The problem is they just keep doing their own battle pass thing. They're doing all this microtransaction stuff, and it's literally taking what I consider a truly great game and made it something that I honestly cannot recommend you go out and purchase, or even, I can't even recommend you spend the $10 and get Game Pass just to play this game. Now, Game Pass itself is also, you know, a fantastic value, and there's plenty of games there, so, you know, if there's other games you want to play on there, and you want to try Gears 5, it's there and you can try it. And you know what? Again, if you just sit down and play the game, maybe you want to play the campaign, once they iron out some of the server issues, I think the game has a really good campaign, and that probably at the end of the day will be the story of this game for me, is that campaign is really good. You should play through that, play through it in, you know, co-op, and that's it. And unfortunately, everything else around the edges of this game is just terrible, and it's unfortunate. You know, I don't like making these videos about games that I was really anticipating, especially when it comes to Gears 5. You know, this was my pick as my most anticipated game of this year, only because I didn't want to pick Bloodstained for the third year in a row. And for this game to come out and be the disappointment that it is, it's really upsetting. And unfortunately, that's the whole point of this video today. So, unfortunately, you know, I'm going to have to throw up here a buyer beware, you know, on Gears 5. I cannot recommend it right now. Maybe my tune will change around Game of the Year time. I don't know. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Forgive me if my voice sounds a little bit off right now. I'm currently getting over a cold, and my voice has been in and out all day. So, anyways, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.